Good morning, everyone. Welcome to CSL White Rock, Centers for Spiritual Living. We are a global center with over 400 communities throughout the world, and we are so happy that you found us here today. So I want to start our morning off in welcoming our musician, Deanna Knight. Sorry, moment here. And Deanna comes to us from the Sunshine Coast, and she is, we're delighted to have Deanna Knight return to sing. She performs her life-affirming, earth-loving musical art with a healthy dose of both folk and jazz. She has the rare ability to dive into your heart and mind, not only leaving you with chills, but also thoughts of love and blessings, hope and healing. Please join me in welcoming back Deanna Knight.
I'd like to start with one of my own songs called My Own Creation. It goes like this. There is no need for competition. I am my own creation. I am the sun and moon that stretch across the sea. Here to be, the best that I can be. The best that I can be. I can be strong for you, but I don't belong to you. There's promise in each breath we take, and there's vision in the love we make. So we stand for what we see is true, and we don't look back when feeling blue, 'cause oneness is a goal we have. Let us stand together hand in hand and hand in hand and hand. No need for fear to guide us, only the love inside us. Only the seasons and the cycles of a host, a blessed earthly mother, perhaps the Holy Ghost. Perhaps the Holy Ghost. Prophets from sickness, there's prophets from war, there's prophets from all this sadness, while humanity weeps for more. We politicize, religify, we colonize, and most of us just get by. We just get by. There is no need for competition. We are our own creation. We are the sun and moon that stretch across the sea. Here to be, the best that we can be. The best that we can be. I can be strong for you, but I don't belong to you. There's wisdom in each breath we take, and there's beauty in the love we make. So we can't afford to swallow lies as we look into our children's eyes, 'cause oneness is a goal we have. Let us stand together hand in hand and hand in hand and hand. Oh, hand in hand and hand in hand and hand.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nicola Archibald. I am proud to serve today as your presider for this gathering. I'm also a board member and board secretary here at CSL White Rock. As we begin our gathering today as settlers on this land, We are honored to live and operate on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples. We thank the First Peoples who continue to live on these lands and care for them, along with the waters and all that is above and below. CSL White Rock is an inclusive spiritual community and learning center. We teach spiritual practices and offer tools to use in all areas of life on a regular and consistent basis. When we live by principle, life flows easier, choices are clearer, and seeing miracles are everyday occurrences. There is wonder in each day, just waiting for us to observe and live it. Moving on now, I'm pleased to introduce you to Reverend Dr. Siota Belle. Reverend Siota serves as a spiritual support minister for CSL Santa Rosa. She also serves as a director of practitioners and pastoral care. Reverend Siota speaks and teaches classes on forgiveness and meditation, as well as offering individual spiritual coaching. I was blessed to learn the Hawaiian forgiveness prayer, also known as Ho'oponopono, from Reverend Siota. It was a touching experience and a practice I have used since she taught it to our class. Reverend Siota's greatest joy comes from assisting others to empower their personal relationship with Spirit to gain lasting freedom and happiness. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Siota Belle.
Thank you. What a beautiful, sacred, heart-opening time we've had already. And I am honored to be here with you today. Thank you for that music, the prayer, the introduction. And I'm going to begin by telling you a little story about my daughter. When she was a toddler, one of her favorite storybooks was about a little fox that often felt lonely. And the little fox would say to its mom, "Mama, do you love me?" And its mom would say, "I love you no matter what." And that phrase, "I love you no matter what," captivated my daughter. And she latched onto this idea that love was unlimited and always available. So sometimes she would spend the whole day asking me questions like, "Will you still love me if I don't take a bath? Will you still love me if I make a big mess in my room?" And as she got older, she realized that she could do things that maybe she shouldn't. And before I would find out about them, she would come to me and say, "Mom, do you love me no matter what?" And that was always the tip-off for me, that I had to be ready to put my willingness to love her no matter what into action. And what she was doing with all of this was she was creating an image of unconditional love inside herself that produced a greater experience of that very same thing in her world. Now, today, I'm talking about moving beyond fear into a greater state of freedom and knowing how to open to and receive love and guidance from Spirit is the thing that moves us beyond our fear. And I believe that Spirit has the answer to every human fear or challenge. But I also know that our problems, our fears, are something that are actually only existing in our own mind. So there's no problem, fear, or condition that exists in Spirit. We've actually been given the ability to have a life where things like fear, disease, negativity do not have to exist in our own mind once we know how to move beyond them. And yet, fear has been with humans since the beginning of human awareness. Eve was tempted by a serpent in the Garden of Eden. And when she and Adam decided to eat that fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, they became very afraid for the first time, afraid that their creator would discover that they had disobeyed. So humans have always been afraid of things greater than themselves. And today we may feel that there are a lot of things we could be afraid of for ourselves, our family, and even for the safety of our planet. Now, I have asked myself, does my fear support me? Does it help my family? Does it make the world a better place if I live with so much fear? And I decided it doesn't serve me. And I know that now. And I would like you to consider, does fear really serve you? Fear keeps me focused either on the past or worried about my future, and that it never leaves me very resourceful for my life, which is happening right now in the present moment. And Ernest Holmes believed that fear is the absence of love, and that to become free of fear, we have to embrace our faith and spirit. And each time we do that, it brings us back to love. And this is how he described it. Fear begins and ends within the mind of the one thinking it. And no fear can exist where faith is present. Now, I also believe that it's important to acknowledge how we're feeling, even if it's a feeling we wish we weren't having. If we want to be authentic with those around us and genuine with others, we have to be authentic and genuine with ourselves. And I believe that our hearts are more tender than we may realize, and that it can be very powerful to explore those very deep feelings inside before we decide to take action on them. And when I'm afraid, I support my tender heart by talking to it. Something like this. Oh, you're feeling fearful. This is so uncomfortable. I understand that you may be very scared. Thank you for calling my attention to this. Let's breathe for a minute or so and just acknowledge how powerful this feeling is inside me. And when we can open to our own feelings, it becomes easier to open to the awareness of Spirit's love. And the more we have the experience of Spirit's love, that's how we build our faith. That Spirit's love is always here, no matter what. I have a feeling that most of us have had some idea of fear, and we may have heard about faith. But what does faith actually mean? I'm going to start with how I experience faith. For me, my faith is a turning from my outer experience to my inner awareness, to either find or remember or reunite with that creative spirit, that light, that sacred presence that Tamara described in her prayer, that always exists within me, and it's always there for me. Now, the author Brene Brown has a beautiful quote about how she understands faith. And she says, "Faith is a place of mystery where we find the courage to believe in what we cannot see and the strength to let go of our fear or uncertainty." Faith is a place of mystery where we find the courage to believe in what we cannot see and the strength to let go of our fear or uncertainty. So over this next week, I invite you to think about faith and figure out what it is that faith means to you. Sometimes faith is something that we teach ourselves based on our life experiences. And I know I have met people that it seems like they were born in with such a natural understanding that they just came to life with faith already at the center of their being. Sometimes faith is something we have to learn about before we can even believe in it. And I know that growing our faith is something that we can practice. We already have the tools. We have meditation, we have prayer. And if we've had some time with our teachings, we have self-trust. We know that we can trust in spirit, and that if we're aware of what faith is, we know that we can trust in our faith no matter what. Yet, in these last few years, how many powerful, deeply affecting situations have influenced us. And sometimes it can be hard to drop into meditation. And sometimes it can even be hard to remember how to pray. There's something that we can do to move beyond fear or other feelings into freedom. You don't have to know how to meditate. You don't have to know how to do the affirmative prayer that we teach. I'd like to take a couple of minutes now to give you an experience of this, to share this experience with you. So if you would please join me now in simply closing your eyes and beginning to breathe naturally. Breathing in all that beautiful air shared by every being and creature on our planet. Perhaps you notice your heartbeat calming, or maybe your chest and stomach relax as we take this pause and simply breathe. And soon you may notice the inner presence of spirit, far more powerful than anything you know about yourself. It's peace, it's calm, makes itself known to you. And as you continue to settle, consciously now, identify yourself with this loving presence. No effort. And you can say or imagine, I feel the one present within me. And if it has been fear inside you, let Spirit amplify its love within, so a sense of safety and calm grows stronger in you. If there has been a concern about health, let that radiant vibrancy of Spirit lift you up. Or maybe if you've been feeling something like sadness or despair, let Spirit's peace and calm smooth those feelings out. And we just keep breathing, relaxing inside. And you will find that presence can move us beyond our fear or any feelings that we would like to release, simply by allowing that presence to reflect through every part of ourselves. We step into freedom beyond our fears or any burdens. And with the next breath, gently begin your return to our present moment. And open your eyes when you're ready. And often, as I do this for myself, I say a very simple prayer. Spirit, show me the way. Share your peace and calm. Guide my steps. Amplify my faith that you are always here for me and that I always know your presence. I am so thankful for this truth. And so it is. Amen. By reading that story of the little fox with my daughter and listening to her questions and placing my focus on loving her no matter what, the two of us together learned that unconditional love is always present. I really didn't know it at the time that we were practicing that, but in the same way, we can practice to build a solid foundation of faith using this simple practice that we just did together. You probably heard the words practicing the presence. And I want to tell you a story now of a man who used his faith to move beyond some very dark times in his life. Once upon a time, in a land long ago, many different warring tribes were always fighting, and they could never find peace. And one king managed to unite these tribes into one country under his rule. But his time as king was never restful. Those who wanted power were always plotting to kill him. And when unjust things occurred, he was blamed for things that he didn't do. He was accused of stealing from his own people, and people even tried to poison him. So it was never easy. Yet this king had spirit on his side, and he had such a powerful faith that he knew how to receive guidance to see him through these difficult times. Now, at one point, when things became very dark and he was beginning to lose his faith, he wrote a prayer, and I'm going to share a few lines of this prayer with you. Those who hate me without reason outnumber the hairs on my head. Many are my enemies without cause, and they seek to destroy me. Save me, O God, for the waters have come up to my neck, and I sink in the miry depths where there is no foothold. And even my eyes fail looking for my God. So I admire, he was a realist, speaking plainly. He was acknowledging how deeply he was being affected. And yet he knew that Spirit was there for him, regardless of events and conditions. And this is how he described his faith and knowing that Spirit was always with him. Truly, my soul silently waits for God. From God comes my salvation. God only is my rock and my salvation. God is my defense, and I shall not be greatly moved. My soul waits silently for God alone. I shall not be moved. In God is my salvation and my glory and the rock of my strength, and my refuge is in God. And so this king built his faith once again and claimed his home in Spirit. Now, in the midst of it all, in this wild and turning world, Spirit is the rock where we can find our refuge, our place, our union with the One. So my invitation is to remember how tender your heart is. Acknowledge your feelings and let them inform you before you take action. And when you can, practice the presence, just as we did together today. From that silence at the center of your being, become receptive to all that you feel from Spirit. Drink it in. Let it fill you up and take it out into your world as your guide to a greater state of freedom, faith, and love. And if you feel you cannot do this for yourself, please reach out to one of the practitioners at your center and let them help you with affirmative prayer. Before I close, I want to share how surprised I was to learn that CSL Home Office had selected fear as a topic for Mother's Day. I was all prepared to give an amazing talk all about love. But instead, I'm just going to say, some of us have great mothers, and others have quite different experiences with their mothers. So when I think about Mother's Day, I remember that everyone's experience with their own mother is unique. And in our teachings, we believe that spirit is unconditional love. And we know that unconditional love can be expressed in everyone, regardless of whether they're a mother, regardless of their gender or identity. Everyone can know the unconditional love of spirit in their own hearts and share it in their lives. So when I say Happy Mother's Day, CSL White Rock, I am honoring that unconditional love within each of you, knowing that it has no beginning, no end, that it never stops flowing, that it is ever present in all hearts and in your heart too. Let us pray. My spirit soars as we turn to prayer. I know our hearts are already open to Spirit's sacred power and presence, the source of all creation, with its infinite flow of goodness, its mystical light that always shines, and a love and compassion that has no limits. And this is where we make our home, in the light and love of Spirit within, just as Spirit makes its home within our hearts. And I know that we are forever connected and indivisible from this truth. And so I know that this amazing community, CSL White Rock, is a place of light, of connection, of love, and a very deep, rich awareness of this truth. And may it all inspire everyone that is a part of this community, no matter how far away, no matter how near. And as we reflect this truth out into our lives and world, I claim that it is magnified to create a great healing for our earth, our climate, our oceans, trees, skies, and lands. I claim that peace and harmony are known by all in every country. Our children and young people grow vibrant and strong, and love unfolds in all people as we walk in unity and oneness. How grateful my heart is for this truth and these gifts. I release this word, and so it is. Thank you.
What did you get out of today's gathering? Did you enjoy our live musician? Did you find peace with our short meditation? Did the talk resonate with you? I know it did with me today. As Ermias Holmes stated, as we express life, we fulfill Spirit's law of abundance, but we do this only as we realize that there is enough to go around. As we know that all of the divine gifts are given as freely and as fully as the air of the sunshine. And I think one of the things that I find with that I've learned over time is that as we give, it also comes back to us. So if you leave today taking a nugget of information, a song you liked, or relaxation from the meditation, please consider returning that good freely and fully with a donation to CSL White Rock. Thank you. You can donate on our website. There's 3 ways in the chat. by writing. You can donate. There are 3 ways to donate: through our website, pay by mail, or pay by e-transfer. So I'd like to now thank everyone who joined us today for this special Mother's Day. To all of the mothers out there, whether it's by birth, adoption, surrogacy, or stepping into that mothering role in a child's life, we wish you all a happy Mother's Day.